out the way he can do that. I think that's, managing rosters is a big part of this. And in an ever-changing culture where people are leaving more quickly and people become so disenchanted so fast and aren't satisfied with playing 8 to 10 minutes and waiting your turn, and being a part of the team isn't as important as it used to be in some ways. That becomes very challenging. So, there are a lot of coaches that do a great job with that, but it's something that really, I really learned that as much from my mentor as anyone, Coach Waltman.
Brett, this team obviously bought into things on the defensive side of the ball. Any concerns? I mean, obviously, a goal is going to be to improve on offense. Any concerns that there's a trade-off there, like if one gets better,
the other gets better? Yeah, I mean, there's always, there's only so much time you can practice. There's only so many things you can emphasize. It's hard to be really good at a lot of things. It really is. And I think that's one of the things in coaching is, are you a multiple schemes guy? Do you play a lot of different defenses? Do you do a lot of different things on offense? Or are you more of the simplicity and execution? This is what we do. You know it's coming. We know you know it's coming, but you can't stop it. And there's teams that are successful doing both. And that's one of the great things about basketball. But it is hard to be really good at a lot of things. And so I probably lean more towards simplicity and execution as opposed to multiple schemes, although I do think I've, mixed in some things at times to help us and had to, and realized that sometimes when you're not as talented, you do have to have some change-ups and do some things every once in a while to hopefully throw some teams off rhythm. But if you're not practicing that and doing a very good job of it, it doesn't work. So to answer your question, yes, you are worried about that. That's why I think it's really important to try to be specific on a few things that you really want to see improvement, and then really put a lot of time into that. One thing we didn't shoot the ball as well as I thought we would shoot it. In all honesty, I thought we would shoot the ball. We worked a lot on shooting, and I probably made a mistake at one point in the season. I got concerned about our guys being tired. We shot all spring. We shot all summer, and most of our workouts were shooting. And even in the fall when we were doing practices, we bring guys in for extra shooting a lot. As the season started to wear on a little bit, I backed off, and we stopped doing some of the extra shooting, and that probably was a mistake in some ways. I get so concerned and with guys wearing down and managing minutes and practice time and guys being on the court, and just that I took that away because we were doing a lot of it was extra. It was bring them in early in the mornings, and I was worried about guys being tired and being tired for class and just all different kinds of things. And it gets back to my thing of it's hard to do it all. And, you've got to figure out what it is that you can really be good at. We have to improve our shooting. I mean, at the end of the day, we can't continue to be one of the worst teams in the league at three-point shooting and expect to finish in the upper, 6 or 7 of the league. It's very difficult to do that.
Looking at Landry at the end of the year, there were glimpses of where he's just so close to being that really, almost dominant. I don't want to say dominant big guy, but one of the better big men in the league. What are you looking for out of him? And then who's another player that's really close to turning the corner like that?
Well, just in terms of Landry, I think, he made great strides. I don't think for a second, and I think I said this last year, but I don't think anybody believed me that we had a lot more confidence in our post players than most people let on, that they were better players than guys that only played 5 or 6 minutes. They just were playing behind guys that were good players, and those guys were better. And Devin Booker was a lot better than Landry as a freshman, and Landry wasn't nearly as good as he is now. And that's to be expected for young players, especially big guys. I think big guys take time, and it doesn't, sometimes everybody wants to feel like, well, you got to have him in there doing all the game stuff. Well, not as much. If they're practicing every day against a good player, Landry's playing every day against Devin Booker, he's getting better. If he can score in practice against Devin Booker, then if he can get rebounds against Devin Booker, then he's going to be fine. And we saw that and saw that Landry could do some of those things. And so I felt like he was going to come in and defend and rebound pretty well. I'd like to see those rebounds go up just a little. And obviously, he's got to continue to improve his back-to-the-basket scoring. He's got to become more comfortable. It's got to become more fluid. But you saw it improve this year a lot. I would anticipate that it will continue to improve. But I'm unbelievably pleased with the steps he made. I thought he had a very good sophomore season, and you saw his confidence continue to grow. Who else? I think Austin Ajuk was a guy that maybe could take another step, certainly could take a big step, needs to take a big step. He's a talented kid in terms of athleticism, has a pretty good skill set, has good confidence offensively in his abilities, needs toughness, needs strength, and needs to really compete at a high level, against somebody all the time to just bring it out of him. But I think there's some talent there that really you like to see as a coach. I think there's an upside there that if he can get it going in the right direction for a while, I think he has a chance to take a big step. I mean, we're optimistic with that. And he's a guy that, will certainly have a chance to make a big step as a player.
How much you could quantify where you guys were picking the preseason, how much that helped you guys in terms of motivation?
A little bit, yeah. But I mean, again, I'm not one of these huge battle cry guys every day. Like we didn't have some ACC standings with us at 14th, and I didn't have the number 14 everywhere. I mean, we certainly talked about it a couple times. And it wasn't more that like you're being disrespected. It was more of like me telling them, don't believe this. Make sure you don't believe this. Like, you guys, it's important that we don't think we're 14th. Forget about being disrespected. Like, let's just make sure even though we had a bad year last year, the way we ended, and some of you guys are unproven, don't think for a second that we don't think we can have a good team. We have all the pieces we need to be successful in our league this year, but we got to do this, this, and this. And if you do these things, we'll be fine. We'll have a good year. And it was more talking of it that way than it was can you believe these guys picked us 14th or you guys picked us 14th? Whoever was out there, and that's, I mean, looking at our team, I didn't know what to think exactly. Certainly there are enough questions that I can justify us being picked that low. It was more important that our players didn't believe that, though, that they didn't believe that we weren't going to be a good team, that we could be good. And again, I think that's where the coaching staff did a very good job, and that's where KJ and Rod, once things got going in a positive direction, I think that's when things changed. And some of it, the Italy trip helped us feel good about playing and winning games by 30, even though the competition was just okay. You still have to make plays. You still got to score. You're still having fun. That was really good. And then getting off to a decent start was good. And I think from there, then momentum becomes part of it. And you start to believe in your team and yourselves and each other, and good things happen.
What I wanted to ask was, because there's a chance next season at that time, you'll be picked in the other half of the standings. So how will you guys deal with the expectations? Because the guys are going to hear for the next.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we talk about you just have to go produce. We're not. You got to go put in the work. You got to be productive players. You've got to be hungry. I haven't had a full sit down with my guys. We're having our banquet tonight, and I'll give them a little message at the banquet about what, that next season is getting ready to start, and you need to be ready. But we haven't had that big talk. I think it's just kind of, it's so early for all those kinds of things. Our guys aren't going to be worried about where they're picked right now. Now, when we get to the fall and when we start getting into the beginning of the season, could that become something that could become a little bit of a hindrance? I don't know, maybe. But the polls are so, they're so often wrong that it's just something for everybody to be able to talk about.